Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome one and all, and as always, we have a lot to talk about. You know, here we are. It's the Monday after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the one American holiday that everyone does, no matter what their background is, no matter where they're from originally, no matter their religion. It's a big holiday. And it's been non-stop news over the holiday weekend. And here we are into Cyber Monday. And the White House press conference today with Karoline Leavitt, the media are just having meltdowns. So I'm going to break down some of that. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. So nothing angers the media more and the never-Trumpers more than Trump being given a clean bill of health. And he went in for his physical. They gave him an MRI, which is standard. You hear me? I Life Imaging FLA that I endorse and talk about on the morning show. I went and had my full body scan, my heart scan, and everything else to find out if I got any heart problems or cancer. I mean, this is a normal thing you do as you age. But they got it in their head that, oh, he had an MRI, so he must have a brain tumor. That's why he's acting so irrationally, It drives them nuts. And remember, Ronnie Jackson, who's now a great congressman from Texas, was the White House doctor for Obama and Bush 2 and Trump. He came out and gave Trump a clean bill of health. And they tried to destroy his life. They ran him out of the Navy. And if you remember, Ronnie Jackson was an admiral. He was a one-star admiral. They demoted him to captain because he gave Trump a clean bill of health in his first term. Remember that? Now, here we are many years later. He gets his new physical by new doctors, and they do the MRI, and his health is spectacular. But they had created in their mind that this MRI test, which is a routine test, if you sprain your ankle and you go to the emergency room, they're going to do an MRI, okay? There's probably been 50 MRIs done or even more in this country since I started this program 2 minutes ago, right? So that's one of the most common tests done, but they had created in their mind through their Trump derangement syndrome suffering brains. They're the ones that need MRI to find out if it can detect the Trump derangement syndrome virus in their brain or tumor in their brain. But they convinced themselves that he had cancer or was going to have a heart attack because he had an MRI, which is absurd. And he was on Air Force One. He's like, no, it was perfect MRI. Well, that wasn't enough. So they said, well, you release the results. We release the results. So President Trump said, yeah, I'll release the results. That was last night on Air Force One, flying back to Washington from Mar-a-Lago. And then today in the White House press briefing, Karoline Leavitt releases the results. I want to play what she said to you, and then she also released the report from the doctors on the MRI. And of course, that does nothing but tick them off even more.
As part of
And now, by the way, if you're watching on the live stream with the green wall behind me, if you want to see and hear all the audio and video and things I show, you got to go to my main live stream, which is pinned in the live chat.
As part of President Trump's comprehensive executive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. The purpose of this imaging is preventative, to identify any issues early, confirm overall health, and ensure the president maintains long-term vitality and function. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging was perfectly normal. No evidence of arterial narrowing impairing blood flow or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. In summary, this level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health.
Sorry, liberals. Sorry, media. Sorry, never Trumpers. Yeah, they just can't. They just can't stand it. They just can't stand it. And then on top of all that, he releases the letter. All right. Now let me pull this up and read this to you. It says here. Well, I got to pull it up on my phone, and then I'll read through it. I mean, look at this. You know, Bill Clinton never released a single physical. People at the time were speculating that he had some kind of STD, which is probably true. And then look at Biden, who was completely out of it, right? So here's the letter in the headline of the letter. It's from the letterhead is Physician to the President, White House. Memorandum, December 1st, 2025, to Caroline Leavitt, White House Press Secretary, from Sean P. Barbabella, D.O., Physician to the President, Captain, U.S. Navy. Subject, summary of President Donald J. Trump's advanced imaging results for immediate release. As part of President Donald J. Trump's comprehensive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. The purpose of this imaging is preventative, to identify issues early, confirm overall health, and ensure he maintains long-term vitality and function. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging is perfectly normal. There is no evidence of arterial narrowing, impairing blood flow, or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. Summary: this level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health. Sorry, guys. Clean bill of health. You're going to have to find something. You know, this is crazy. You know, when I was growing up, like I remember when Ronald Reagan was president, he was always in the hospital because at the time, he was the oldest man elected at the time. He was sworn in when he was 70. He won the election, I believe he was 69. And even then they were talking about, oh, he's going to have Alzheimer's and all this stuff. And he was always going to the doctor. And I remember Bush 1 at the doctor all the time. Even G.W. Bush would go to the doctor. And they used to do this thing in the press. They don't do it anymore. The press are just disgusting, poisonous, low-life people. But a lot of you may remember this. Remember the presidents, they'd go to Walter Reed. The press would be outside Walter Reed Hospital, and the president would be wearing a hospital bathrobe and would wave at the press, and it would be like a positive story. Oh, the president got his physical. He's doing well. He's healthy. Not anymore. The press get pissed off when President Trump has good health reports. You know, I don't know what it is about President Trump, but he's not a mortal man. I mean, you know, he has the energy of a 35-year-old. He's doing very well. And they had been building up all this thing because he had some bruising on his hands a while back. Remember this? Well, he shakes about 1,000 hands a day sometimes. That would make anyone's hand hurt and maybe puncture some blood vessels. But they had convinced themselves because the bruising on his hand, and then there was this. They said there was some swelling of the ankles recently. And they had a video, which I questioned, when he was walking up a ramp at the White House and said he was having problems. So they had created in their mind that President Trump had all these health issues. And of course, he has none. He is a perfect specimen of physical health. And we're very happy for that, right? But not the media. No. The media, they are pissed. But I want to, if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to go through some things from Caroline Leavitt's press conference. This was a great press conference. And I got to say, Caroline Leavitt, how old is she? 28 yet? she is far beyond her years so far as skill of being the White House press secretary. She's the best White House press secretary we've ever had. The only other one that was, I would say, would be her equal, and he wasn't there very long, was Tony Snow. Remember, he passed away of cancer. He was very good. He was on Fox News, and G.W. Bush hired him, and he worked there a very short time, and he was very good with the press. But he left because he had cancer. He didn't have that much time there. She is just a home run every press conference. And what she does at these White House press conferences is kind of what I do. I got these liberals who call me. She's got these liberals in the press corps that call on her, and they gang up on her too, right? They ask the same. Everyone will ask the same question the one before asked. No matter what she's talking about, they'll ask the same question. You'll get 5 or 10 questions, same question. And she's always got the right answers, and she's very smart. There is one thing they do, though, at the White House press briefing that I really don't like. I can't remember the name of Hey, Kathy, do you remember the name of the girl that was there today from the Daily Wire? No, she doesn't remember. They have this thing. Yeah, that was my wife. She doesn't remember the name. Maybe somebody saw it and know. They have this thing that the Caroline Leavitt does where they bring somebody in from the new media, and they have to sit on the wall on the corner. And today they had the new girl at Ben Shapiro's The Daily Wire. I cannot remember her name. You know who I'm talking about? I can't remember. If somebody knows in the chat, let me know. I'll know it if I see it. It'll ring a bell. But when they have the White House press briefing room, for some reason, and I don't know why this is, how it is organized and where people sit is under the authority of the White House press corps. And I don't know why that is. So Caroline Leavitt can't just sit this person from the new media wherever they want. So they got to go into this chair on the side. It's kind of like a dunce chair where the rest of the media won't let them in their club. So they got to go sit over on the side. And it's really insulting. It reminds me of, and some of you may remember this too, the first season of, no, it's not Brett Cooper. It's a girl who's there now. And she's been at the Daily Wire for a few months. I cannot remember her name. She's kind of new over there. And she was the special person today. But anyway, in the first season of Survivor, it doesn't seem like, it was like #1 show on television. And actors were getting nervous. I mean, actors thought reality TV was going to put them all out of work. Now the actors are trying to become reality TV stars and starting YouTube podcasts and stuff, right? But it was a big deal. And Survivor is CBS. So every week, the person that got voted off the island would be a guest on David Letterman. And the celebrities were saying that they would not appear on David Letterman and sit on the couch next to someone from Survivor, a reality star, because they're not actors. They're not actors, so they won't sit there. So what Letterman did is he wouldn't let them come out on stage and sit down. They had to do the interview backstage, and they'd be like off the side behind the curtains. It was very humiliating. And one of the Survivor cast in the first season wouldn't even do that. They wouldn't go on the show. I can't remember which one. But anyway, that's what it's like in the White House press briefing room. It's a way for the White House press corps to feel superior. You're not one of us. Yeah, Brown is her last name. I can't remember her first name. Her first name is Brown from the Daily Wire. You've got to go sit along the wall in the dunce chair. You are not up to our level. We're the White House press corps. Who do you think you are? These people are so full of themselves. They're so irrelevant these days. No one cares or listens to them. But anyway, so back to this. So I want to, if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to go through some of the clips from the White House press briefing room. This is all today.
One fake news story over the weekend before I let you all go from the New York Times that took about 1/3 of the president's daily calendar and his daily schedule and said that he's doing less than he did in his first term, or he might not be fit for the job. That is unequivocally false, and it's deeply unfortunate that this story was written by the same outlet and the same reporter who wrote this. Biden is doing 100% fine after tripping while boarding Air Force One. Oh, same outlet, same reporter who wrote that President Trump is not fit for the job. Are you kidding me? You all see him almost every single day. He is the most accessible president in history. He is taking meetings around the clock. Another one. Biden declared, quote, healthy and vigorous after his first presidential physical. I don't see headlines like that too often about this president. Again, same reporter, same outlet who wrote falsely over the weekend that President Trump is not fit for the job. I can assure you he absolutely is. You all see that with your own eyes on a daily basis, and the president's physician has now given you all 3 detailed reports on the state of the president's health. I will point out...
I like this new thing they started doing this a couple weeks back, where they have their fake news thing of the week, and they're highlighting this on the White House official website, and she's calling it out in the press briefings. I think that's great. You know, call these people out for the liars and the frauds that they are, because that is most definitely what they are. I'll tell you. What's the next clip? Oh, yes. Okay. You know, they're having these just insanely massive... Monique just became a member on the YouTube channel. Well, welcome, Monique. You're now a member. You get the special members only emojis, and you get your name in a special color too when you become a member of the channel in the chat, so you stand out in the chat. They're getting very upset that President Trump is not going to let any more people from the third world in, and they're going to do massive deportations of these refugees that have come into places like Afghanistan. And I mean, the way the media and the Democrats are reacting to this, like Mark Kelly with a freshly shaven head, he goes on TV the other week, that they're saying they don't want brown people here. That's how I hear it. I hear that as they don't want non-white people here. They don't want brown people here. What are you talking about, stupid? You know, what are these people contributing to this country? One of these refugees shot dead a female guardsman the day before Thanksgiving, shot another one. There's this story coming out of Tim Walz's Minnesota where these Somalian refugees stole, $1 billion or something in taxpayer money? You know, and I was talking to my wife, my wife and I on different parts of our families, our great-grandparents came here from other countries. The way it worked in the past, during the big waves of immigration from Europe, it's much different than now. The United States is a big country, and this was the thinking then, and this is how immigrants thought. The United States is a big country. It still is. We still got a lot of open space here. And the United States of America is the greatest country in the world because of our government, our economic system, and everything. And no matter where you're from, you can come here and become an American. And people came here from Europe and they became Americans. Go see the jazz singer, right? Not the original, the other the new one. The Neil Diamond jazz singer. They got a whole song about it. They're coming to America, right? And like my wife's great-grandparents are from Italy. No one in the family speaks Italian. My grandmother on my mother's side, her whole family are from Greece. No one in the family speaks Greek. They're Americans. Now what happens, we get these so-called third world refugees fleeing a fictitious climate crisis or something. They come from some anarchy like Somalia. They come over here, and they don't come over here to become Americans. They don't come over here to be productive, to produce, to become a part of society. They come over here to retire and live off the American taxpayer. It's a whole nother thing. It has nothing to do with their skin color, their religion, or even their country of origin so much. It's the type of immigration it is. It's a retirement plan. Oh, let me go to America and retire. Not go over there and get a job or get an education or start a business or anything. Get over here and retire off the U.S. taxpayers. That's what they're doing. While you and me work all the time so these Somalians can come over here and retire and tell us that we should be running our country in the Somalian way, whatever that is. So this next clip in the press conference involves that kind of.
I'll tell you what does not add to our nation's character and integrity is refugees who come here under the alleged plight of asylum and fleeing persecution, and then come to the United States to abuse our system.
That's right.
And rip off American taxpayers. And as I pointed out, the New York Times, to their credit, it was about 6 months too late, but they did write about how Somali immigrants in Minnesota have been ripping off American taxpayers. In fact, 86 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs in Minnesota. Of those 86, 78 of those people are Somali, 91% of them charged. So far, 59 of those people have been convicted for their roles in fraud plots that have stolen $1 billion from taxpayers. In one scheme, and this is egregious, a nonprofit and its affiliates with these Somali migrants claimed to have fed tens of thousands of American children during the pandemic. They were reimbursed for those meals by taxpayers. However, federal prosecutors found that almost all of those meals were never even delivered to hungry children. In fact, those organizations' leaders spent the money on houses, luxury cars, and real estate in Turkey and Kenya.
Wow.
Another scheme involved hundreds of organizations who were reimbursed for services that were supposed to help people at risk of homelessness. Once again, those services were never provided. All of this has happened under Democrat leadership in a Democrat-run state, where these refugees, these migrants are coming to the United States. They are abusing our system. They are draining our resources that should be going to law-abiding, taxpayer-funded, tax-paying Americans. And this president is not going to put up with it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this new wave of immigrants, they call them refugees. What are they contributing that's positive to our country, right? They're shooting National Guardsmen. They're stealing $1 billion from the taxpayers in Minnesota. They're murdering and raping people, taking jobs illegally from people, all these things. What is this wave of refugee contributing to this country? You know, and the president, he said on Air Force One yesterday, he says they come from Somalia and they want to tell us how to run our country? When they come from these anarchies? Come on. And they contribute nothing positive. Everything they contribute is negative. Here's this might be the same clip that I just played in a different version. Might get a little bit more. Let's see here.
About how Somali immigrants in Minnesota have been ripping off American taxpayers. In fact, 86 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs.
Now, I like this on Fox News. They've got Tim Walz's picture up on the screen. Now, this is real news. We talk so much about fake news. We don't talk too much about real news. And, you know, all of us have problems with Fox, but this is real news. All this money stolen in Minnesota, and you've got this Tim Walz guy who's been bringing them in there and setting them up, and it's being presented, rightly so, as a Tim Walz scandal. Because how did this happen under his watch? Right? I'd like to see some investigation in the finances of him, his entire family, and even extended family. I mean, I'm talking about 18th cousins. They need to go back as far as they can on Ancestry.com and get all the relations and find out what the financial situation of Tim Walz and his whole family, including extended family, is. He seems too quick to defend this thievery.
6 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs in Minnesota. Of those 86, 78 of those people are Somali, 91% of them charged. So far, 59 of those people have been convicted for their roles in fraud plots that have stolen $1 billion from taxpayers. In one scheme, and this is egregious, a nonprofit and its affiliates with these Somali migrants claimed to have fed tens of thousands of American children during the pandemic. They were reimbursed for those meals by taxpayers. However, federal prosecutors found that almost all of those meals were never even delivered to hungry children. In fact, those organizations' leaders spent the money on houses, luxury cars, and real estate in Turkey and Kenya.
Wow, in Turkey and Kenya. Oh, Kenya. Obama's homeland. Boy, oh boy. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in The toll-free number, it's toll-free no matter where you're tuned in, is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. Yeah, I got to give credit to Fox News for properly identifying this as a Tim Waltz scandal, because it is. Let me ask you this. Are you risking your retirement? What I mean by that is, do you have your money in the stock market with the ups and downs? It may be up now, maybe down tomorrow. Who knows? You don't have to take those risks. There's a no-risk retirement plan, and that's through Jupiter Joe Thomas and annuities. With an annuity, not only is your money not at risk, no matter what happens in the stock market, your money is safe, but you're turning your money into guaranteed income for life. That's right. You get money each and every month for the rest of your life. And these annuities you can hand down to your children. It's great. It's absolutely amazing. I've learned so much since I met Joe Thomas about annuities, including that most pension plans, the ironclad pensions, they're annuities. The lottery, if you're lucky enough to win the lottery, you get that money you get it in like every year. You get a lump, unless you take the lump sum. The lottery puts their money in an annuity, and a lot of very wealthy people invest in annuities because their nest egg, their principal, is not at risk, and they got that revenue stream coming in. It's absolutely amazing. If you want to learn more, call Jupiter Joe Thomas. He offers no-charge consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States, okay? So you can, of course, if you're local and you want to meet him in person, you can do that. Or you can do the no-charge consultation over the phone or Zoom if you're out of town, out of state, or even in town, and you can't make it into his office. You can still do the appointment over the phone and through Zoom. If you're with a financial advisor and you want to take your financial account and turn it into an annuity, Joe Thomas will handle all that transaction for you. You don't have to talk to your financial person. If you have a 401k with a former employer, let Jupiter Joe Thomas know. He can transfer that. He can handle the whole transaction for you. He can get a hold of that human resource person that's in charge of your annuity, in charge of your 401k, and have it transferred into an annuity. Here's his number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed that number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back.
Do you ever wish you could step back into the greatest decade of all time, the 80s? You're not alone. That's when members-only jackets made you cool, parachute pants swished with every move, when leg warmers, big hair, and neon ruled, and your Walkman, Atari 2600, and Rubik's Cube were your most prized possessions? If you missed the A-Team, Knight Rider, breakdancing, hair metal, arcades, and that unmistakable new wave sound, you're not alone. Welcome to WeLoveThe80s.com. The community built by people who still believe the 80s were hands down the most iconic decade ever. At WeLoveThe80s.com, they celebrate everything that made the 80s unforgettable. The music, the movies, the fashion, the video games, the attitude, and of course, the memories that shaped a generation. If the 80s live in your heart, relive them with WeLoveThe80s.com. That's WeLoveTheeighties.com. Go right now to WeLoveThe80s.com and take your place among the totally awesome. Are you looking for a gift that lasts a lifetime? One that's personal, powerful, and proudly American-made. At Back 40 Metalworks on Etsy, that's Works, W-O-R-X. They turn ideas into steel. Since 2010, Back 40 Metalworks has been crafting over 200 unique metal art designs, from wildlife and rustic decor to modern wall pieces and custom creations. With more than 30 years of experience working with metal, they know how to shape your vision into something extraordinary. Need a personalized welcome sign for your home? A company logo? A one-of-a-kind Christmas gift? Something for mom or dad on their day? Or any other day of the year? Every piece at Back 40 Metalworks is built to last, indoors or out, and every design tells a story, your story, in steel. Visit the shop online right now, back40metalworks.etsy.com. That's WORX, and view the inventory. You will be impressed. Back40metalworks.etsy.com. They turn ideas into steel.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Call us on hold. You hang in there. A little extended clip with this guy, with Caroline Levitt. She did a great job today, didn't she?
You said, and I quote, leaders also have a duty to preserve the integrity and character of our nation's national identity. Can you explain what you mean by our nation's national identity and integrity and character, and how would refugees, people coming from war-torn places who are seeking a safe haven in America, like many of our forebears in this room, not add to our nation's integrity and character of our national identity?
What a jerk. I don't know who this guy is. I'll play her response in a minute. These people are these so-called refugees. They're refugees from their own culture where they live in a third world anarchy. How's that our problem? We're responsible because some of these countries, they're much older than we are, and they still can't get their act together. So we're supposed to just take them in because they can't run a country, so they can screw ours up? I don't think so. But what this reporter is talking about, see, and he's old enough to have his brain washed by this liberalism. What they've done is convince multiple generations of Americans that there's something wrong with our culture in the United States. And when he's talking, wait, what do you mean by our identity? This idiot, he believes our identity is an identity of racism, bigotry, hate, all these terrible things. Jerk. Let's hear Caroline Levitt's response.
I'll tell you what does not add to our nation's character and integrity is refugees who come here under the alleged plight of asylum and fleeing persecution, and then come to the United States to abuse our system and rip off American taxpayers.
That's
and as
right.
I pointed out, the New York Times, to their credit, it was about 6 months too late, but they did write about how Somali immigrants in Minnesota have been ripping off American taxpayers. In fact, 86 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs in Minnesota. Of those 86, 78 of those people are Somali, 91% of them charged. Wow. So far, 59 of those people have been convicted for their roles in fraud plots that have stolen $1 billion from taxpayers. In one scheme, and this is egregious, a nonprofit and its affiliates with these Somali migrants claimed to have fed tens of thousands of American children during the pandemic. They were reimbursed for those meals by taxpayers. However, federal prosecutors found that almost all of those meals were never even delivered to hungry children. In fact, those organizations' leaders spent the money on houses, luxury cars, and real estate in Turkey and Kenya. Another scheme involved hundreds of organizations who were reimbursed for services that were supposed to help people at risk of homelessness. Once again, those services were never provided. All of this has happened under Democrat leadership in a Democrat-run state where these refugees, these migrants are coming to the United States. They are abusing our system. They are draining our resources that should be going to law-abiding, taxpayer-funded, tax-paying Americans. And this president is not going to put up with it anymore.
Yeah. This is right. And one of the reasons that they're so corrupt and do all this thievery is because they're from third world corrupt pits of hell where this is just everyday life. They don't even view what they're doing as criminal or corrupt. This is just how it's done. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean. What's up?
Well, we're seeing incredible strength from this president. I mean, it's quite insurgency he's facing. He's leading the ultimate counterinsurgency, what he's doing.
Yep.
And, I think there is a color revolution happening against him, and it's been talked about before, and I think that is true because they've always been against him in every way, shape, and form. And what we're seeing here with all these people coming in is just another form of that as a weapon against him and the American people. And I think what's happening here is that Trump's finally said, you know what, this isn't going to happen because these people are not just here to, for economic reasons. They're all, and maybe murder, but they also want to try and change their culture. When certain sects want to do that.
I mean, this is hey, by the way, Sean, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Yeah, Sean's right on the money. What's going on here is these things we're talking about. Plus, they come here now and say, we want to turn your country into our country. That third world anarchy we fled, that's how we want it to be in Michigan or Springfield, Ohio. What? Why? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Jack. Let's see if we can talk without you.
Nah, we got a bad connection, Jack, so we can't talk. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian, or afternoon, sorry. It's Dr. Nine out of California.
Hey, what's up, California?
Hey, how are you?
All right.
I just wanted to wish you and your wife and your daughter a happy belated Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything that you do. I know that you're working incredibly hard, so thank you very much. First things first, President Trump is completely healthy, so sorry that he didn't have some underlining issue for all of those ones who were wishing that he did.
Exactly.
What's so funny to me is I don't recall ever having a white press conference in regards to Biden's medical issues. We never had any reports being disclosed about any findings, and even though everyone and their mother knew about it, that he had some major issues. I'm not wishing bad upon anyone,
Well, they were hiding his health issues and whatever form of dementia he's suffering from.
But see, that's my point. They're actively hiding his status from the American people, and he is the president of the United States. So he was basically working for us.
Correct.
And his conditions should have been disclosed because making decision-making issues are definitely an issue, which is why he ended up, the auto pen ended up being utilized by individuals who had not been selected, who had not been presented to the American people to be a part of the leader of the free world. So so many things that we have discussed on your show have been part of his upcoming policies, and I'm over the moon. And for all of these individuals who end up presenting these stupid questions during these press conferences, it does not seem. And you are a historian specialist who knows about our history. Ellis Island was where individuals came. They congregated, and that was the passport into our country. And I can't even tell you how many people were denied access for a variety of different reasons.
Well, they had there were all kinds of restrictions on immigration. Then they didn't just let everybody in.
Exactly. So what exactly is the issue? You cannot come here, okay, and part of your admittance into here is that you broke the law, okay? That's the end of it. And then all of this news coming, I'm so ecstatic. The fact is that there has been so much fraudulent activity in regards to what is going on. It's disgusting, but it's coming to
and the
light.
arrogance.
Lastly,
Here we have two big immigrant stories going on right now, right? We've got the one who murdered a National Guardsman and shot another. We've got these others that stole $1 billion from taxpayers in Minnesota, and somehow we're the bad guys by saying, hey, what are these people contributing to our society other than death and thievery? Right? There's something wrong with us?
Well, no, the Democrats are exactly what it is that they say that they hate about MAGA or Republicans. And it's absolutely disgusting. I've never seen a party advocate for drug dealers. I've never seen a party advocate for gang members. I've never seen parties advocate for lawlessness in regards to everything that we see. I've never seen it, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Lastly, can I email you in regards to a question in regards to my phone number? Because for some reason,
if you go to my website, briancraigshow.com, you can email me there, everybody. And I'm the only one that checks those emails. briancraigshow.com. There's an email there.
Thank you once again, Brian. You're doing God's work.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike. What's up?
You know, these press room people, they're snobs because it's always been the fact that ABC, NBC, CBS, UPI, USA Today, and all the rest of them have had those prime seats in the press room, right?
Yep.
Correct?
That's
correct. For God's sake, remember Helen Thomas, who was there for 50 years? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a power play for these people.
Yeah.
Because they see that their power is now waning.
See, I think what's going to happen is, I think when the new East Wing is done, I think President Trump's going to have a new press conference room in that wing, and it'll be under the control of the White House, not the press. So they can have control of their empty room, and they'll move into a new one in the East Wing. I bet you. It hasn't been talked about, although I did hear President Trump say when they have big press conferences, they'll be there because there's more space because the briefing room's so small. But I bet you he's going to move the press briefings into the East Wing.
Hopefully, yes, because, again, we've said it before, that little press room is a little tiny little thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, I mean, and if we're gonna have these people, you know, a number of the new media in the press room has got to be a bigger room. And by the way, as far as Trump's health goes, I bet he's healthier at 80-some than Hunter Biden is at 50-something.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point, Mike. Appreciate the call. Let me ask you this very important question. Are you or someone you know or love suffering with pain? You don't have to. Go see Dr. Appleton. You know, we've had listeners travel from all over the United States, literally by plane, by car, even by train. There was one lady who came by train all the way to Florida to see Dr. Appleton. He is that good. He's rid me of pain 7 times. He'll do the same for you. His laser wave pain treatment works. I know it works because he's rid me of pain 7 times. And you know, the pains he rid me of, these were not, I stubbed my toe pains. These were hardcore pains. Many of them I suffered from for years. My knee pain I suffered from for about 30 years. And after just 2 treatments, my knee pain gone. And over 3.5 years later, it has not returned. It's amazing. It works. You know, it works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. I meet listeners all the time out and about who have had different types of pain. Back pain, arthritis. Yeah, Dr. Appleton, he rid me of arthritis pain, knee injury from a car accident, multiple shoulder injuries from falls I've taken. It's amazing. It absolutely works. The consultation is free. That's right. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome. There's no downtime, no shots, no injections, no medications. Not only is the laser treatment painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening, and Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. And it could be pain that you just have from growing old, like I had with the arthritis, an injury, a fall like I've had, a car accident. Maybe you have a surgery scheduled. Before you have that surgery, go see Dr. Appleton. Or maybe you have pain after a surgery. Go see Dr. Appleton. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
Sometimes the quietest places hide the biggest secrets. From author Aaron Macy comes a brand new Ivy Sinclair cozy mystery, and you can get it for free right now online at AaronMacyMystery.com. Murder in the Guest House. Ivy Sinclair thought she was leaving everything behind her in Chicago, but when a fierce nor'easter forces her to take shelter at a remote clifftop guest house, she finds herself caught in a mystery she never expected. A famous blogger is found dead behind a locked door. Her clever beagle Watson leaves muddy paw prints near the scene. And suddenly, Ivy isn't just the new arrival, she's the prime suspect. Everyone trapped in the storm has a secret. Everyone has a motive. And as Ivy digs deeper, she discovers that the real killer may be hiding in plain sight. If you're a fan of small town charm, smart heroines, and cozy mysteries with a twist, Murder in the Guest House is your next must-read book. Get your free copy of Murder in the Guest House House from author Aaron Macy right now on the author's website, AaronMacyMystery.com. That's AaronMacyMystery.com, and step into a mystery you'll never forget. Murder in the Guest House from author Aaron Macy, online at AaronMacyMystery.com. This holiday season, give a gift they've never seen before. One that'll stand out and be remembered and enjoyed for years to come at secretdayelegance.etsy.com. That's secret, delegance.etsy.com. At secretdayelegance.etsy.com, you'll find unique puzzles, beautifully designed playing cards, and handcrafted accessories, each one created to stand out and spark joy. These aren't ordinary gifts. They're one-of-a-kind treasures you won't find anywhere else. Whether you're shopping for family, friends, co-workers, or that impossible to shop for someone, secretdayelegance.etsy.com has the perfect surprise for each and every occasion, especially the holidays. Visit secretdayelegance.etsy.com. That's secret, delegance.etsy.com. View the inventory. You will be impressed, and you'll find gifts as unforgettable as the people you love. secretdayelegance.etsy.com. Start shopping right now. In the French Alps, love can melt even the coldest hearts. From author Emily Harrison comes the winter romance Peak Season. It's a story of heartbreak, desire, and redemption set in a remote ski resort where love can be as dangerous as the mountains themselves. Lola Maxwell isn't looking for love. She's just trying to keep her family from falling apart. A last-minute job at a remote ski resort seems like the perfect escape. Work hard, stay out of trouble, and forget the past. Then Harley Nash walks in. He's the ski team lead. She promised herself she wouldn't fall for anyone, but the mountains have a way of breaking down walls, and the fire between them burns hotter than either of them expected. As snow falls and secrets surface, they'll discover that some risks are worth taking and some hearts are worth the fall. Peak Season from author Emily Harrison is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online booksellers. Order your copy right now. One reckless decision, that's all it took to send Robert Wallace into a nightmare that would last 4 long years. From author Robert Wallace comes your next must-read book, Swallow Hell, a story of survival, redemption, and a long road to recovery, inspired by a real-life story. In Swallow Hell, the author relives the events that dragged him from a moment in Ecuador into some of the toughest prisons in Europe. From the brutal blocks of Istanbul to the cold, unforgiving cells of Munich, he survived on instinct, grit, and the thin thread of trust he formed with fellow inmates that became lifelines in a world where violence, paranoia, and desperation controlled everything. But the story doesn't end there, because the man who endured homelessness, alcoholism, addiction, and near-death moments is the same man who chose to fight his way back, to rebuild, to recover, to reclaim his life. This is more than a memoir. It's a warning, a confession, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, as well as a brutally honest look at how far a person can fall and how hard they can climb back. Swallow Hell from author Robert Wallace is available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited, as well as the author's website, robertwallaceswallowhell.com. Order your copy today.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It is the Brian Craig Show podcast where MAGA comes to talk. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in and you're watching live on YouTube, the number's pinned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I've been going through some of the highlights from Caroline Leavitt's press conference today because it was a good one. It was a good one.
Unfortunately, this is not the only example of a dangerous Afghan who was let in by Joe Biden, who went on to harm the American people. There was an Afghan national who was let into the country under the Biden administration through Operation Allies Welcome, who shot and wounded 2 Fairfax, Virginia police officers during a routine traffic stop. He was killed by return fire after declaring, quote, "I should have served with the explicitive Taliban." 2 Afghan nationals were given legal status by the Biden administration as well, who were arrested and prosecuted for plotting a terrorist attack in Oklahoma just before Election Day in 2024. We all remember that. They possessed hundreds of rounds of ammunition and had pledged their allegiance to ISIS. There was also an Afghan national who was on the terror watch list who was apprehended by Border Patrol in 2024, but then he was released into our country by the Biden administration. Again, let's just highlight the absurdity of that. Border Patrol apprehended a terrorist, and then the Biden administration, because of their lax policies, still allowed him to come into the United States of America. I think everyone in this room, whether you want to admit it or not, does not want that individual living alongside you in your American neighborhood.
Nope.
And that individual was later arrested again after being allowed to live in the U.S. at large for over a year. Another one, a criminal illegal alien from Afghanistan, was arrested by ICE in 2025, convicted of second-degree assault, was previously allowed to stay in the country by the Biden administration. I have several more examples here. I'm happy to provide them to anyone in this room.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's as we were talking about before. What positive contribution are these so-called refugees adding to our country? Death, destruction, criminal activity. That's it.
We have paused all asylum adjudications, and then, of course, the special immigrant visas, which we know many Afghans utilize to come into the country under the Biden administration, have also now been paused. And I would just point out one more time that the Biden administration was responsible for the original sin that led to this tragic killing last week, the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan.
That's right.
He was responsible for Operation Allies Welcome, which is something that this White House and the people behind this podium in the last administration fully and wholeheartedly embraced. And they assured the American people there would be no risk or no harm to them. And as I just laid out for you in those many examples, that unfortunately and tragically has not turned out to be the truth. Just ask the families of these 2 brave National Guardsmen, one who is no longer with us and one who continues to fight for his life. So I know the president is wholeheartedly focused on this effort, and I think unfortunately these events do remind us why it's so important that the president's mass deportation operation continues.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what I was talking about this morning, and this is another thing to add to that list, the things that President Trump is doing are things that are what I describe as universally good, right? These are universally good things. Who could be against stopping the drug traffickers? You know, I was watching the press conference today. I'm not sure if I have this clip. But if not, I'll just tell you about it. Let me take a look. Okay, yeah, here's one of the clips. Okay. There was this is just one of the clips. There was an obsession in the press briefing today from the media, from the fake news media, of them taking out these drug cartel boats. That's a universally good thing. And Caroline Leavitt, one of the reporters asked, what law are they doing this by, the Trump administration, these attacks on the cartels? And Caroline Leavitt, which she said was amazing, she said it's self-defense. These are people that are attacking the United States. I hadn't thought about it quite that way. What a great explanation that was. But one of them, they're alleging, which we don't know if it's true or not, but they're alleging that one of the cartel boats, the admiral in charge of the operation, fired twice. The first one didn't kill everybody, so he fired a second round. That's how you win wars, right? The reason the war in Vietnam was not won is because it wasn't being fought to win. It was being fought to prolong a conflict. The rules of engagement and everything. If you don't know about all that, look it up. Learn something. I'm not going to go through it now. But, when you're that's how we won the Second World War. It was total war. And we bombed them until they had no longer the ability to wage war, the Germans and the Japanese. And that's what's going on with the cartels. If you're at war, if your country's under attack, Americans are dying every day because of these cartels. You've got to fire at the drug boat until it's destroyed. To send a message, stop sending drug boats with poison that's killing people. If you just damage the boat and it's not a high-risk operation, the boats will start coming in mass. You know how difficult it must be for them to find guys to bring those boats in? They're probably kidnapping their families and making them do it. Caroline Levitt today.
I have a statement to read for you here. President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. And I would just add one more point to remind the American public why these lethal strikes are taking place. Because this administration has designated these narco-terrorists as foreign terrorist organizations. The president has a right to take them out if they are threatening the United States of America and if they are bringing illegal narcotics that are killing our citizens at a record rate, which is what they are doing. And under the previous administration, there was enough fentanyl trafficked into our country to kill every American man, woman, and child many times over. That's why you've seen a drastic difference in this administration's policy with respect to the last, and it's one of the many reasons the American public reelected this president and support this Secretary of War in conducting these strikes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how could you be against stopping the poison drugs from coming into the country? We'll be right back.
This is George Colony. I'm in the real estate business in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Kai's Real Estate. I've been in business for 6 decades. People often ask me, what's the right time to buy or sell real estate? To tell you the truth, it's always the right time. You just need to have the right advice from the right advisor. You could call me anytime because I answer my phone on the first ring. My number is 954-801-7320. That's my personal cell phone number. And I answer it on the first ring every time. Please give me a call. I'm happy to answer any question that you have. My cell phone number is 954-801-7320.
All right, I want to take a moment to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, Tom Laporta, he's a good MAGA guy, and he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. And what that means is, if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. I have talked to multiple listeners of this program who thought they needed a whole new roof. In fact, other roofers told them they did. And Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing came out and said, no, you just need a repair. One guy, he told you don't even need a repair. That's your AC line leaking. Yeah, I know. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to find an honest roofer. They all tell you, except Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, that you need a new roof even when you don't. He covers the whole state of Florida, the east coast of Florida, west coast of Florida, everywhere in between. He works on every type of structure. Residential, commercial, municipal, even does church roofs. Works with every type of roofing material as well. He can handle a job of any size, no matter how big, whether it's a single-family home or an HOA with over 450 units, he can handle it. And this number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. Give him a call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. For Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Online, laportaroofing.com. All right. So this is an amazing story. CNN, they've been actually, Rush used to call these accidental cases of journalism when CNN would report real news. Look at this. And you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, the anchor, she looks terrified. They're reporting the real news on gas prices.
This morning, some states seeing gas prices below $3 for the first time in years. Let's get to CNN's Matt Egan for the good news on this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to finally be here with some good news on the cost of living front. So for the first time in 4.5 years, gas prices are averaging $3 a gallon nationally, according to AAA, down by 7 cents in just the past week. Gas prices were low a year ago as well, but they're even cheaper now. This is encouraging to see because late last month there was a period where gas prices were actually higher this year than last year, but that has reversed again, and now we've just fractions of a penny away from breaking below $3 a gallon. Now, as you mentioned, we've got 20 states across the country where the average is actually less than $2.75 a gallon, including North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Colorado as well. Certainly nice to see this. Why is this happening? Well, it all comes down, of course, to oil prices, right? Oil prices are about $59 a barrel this morning. You look back in history, on December 1, 3 years ago, we're looking at $81 a barrel for oil, $67 even last year. So significantly cheaper. And that's because right now, supply of oil continues to outpace demand. It's
right.
U.S. supply. Production in the U.S. is at all-time highs. It's higher than last year, but only a little bit higher. OPEC is the big story, though, right? Saudi Red OPEC, they are ramping up production substantially this year. They've signaled that they plan to pause those output hikes next year. But for now, look, this is a good story when it comes to the affordability crisis. Gasoline, it's relatively cheap.
All right. Well, good news for now, Matt Egan.
Yeah, good news. CNN reporting the truth there. And gas prices are well under $3 at all the gas stations in my neighborhood here in Florida, courtesy of President Trump. This is amazing. You know, the food prices that they're griping about, I was talking about this morning, so I'm not going to get into too much detail, but the beef prices, the food prices, this is artificial price inflation by the CCP owning portions of the farming industry as well as the beef plants and all of this. Things are coming down. They're coming down fast. And gasoline, that's always a big indicator. That's one of the big indicators on prices of everything because everything has to be transported. And gas for working people, it you know, come on. You know, when gas gets high, it sucks to fill up your tank, doesn't it? It's not so bad to fill it up today, under $3 throughout the country. Even in blue states, it's going down under $3. Now, if you're new to my program, make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're tuned in on. The Brian Craig Show podcast, where MAGA Comes to Talk, is available on all podcast platforms. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for The Brian Craig Show. And if you want to catch the live edition in video format, that's on YouTube or YouTube Music. Just search for The Brian Craig Show. You can catch the show live when I'm taking calls, even call in and see the podcast in video form. On all the other podcast platforms, you get the audio podcast. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.